Star Trek Picard, episodes 1 through 3. This is my review of the show. So far, I like the show. It's very interesting. But the first 3 episodes I've watched, it seems a lot like 3 different shows. The first episode was a very action-oriented, fast-paced, explosions type of show. Second episode was like CSI in space, investigating a murder of someone that happened. The third episode is a lot like a drama, like a serialized type of drama, people talking, conversing with things. So I found that pretty fascinating. It reminds me of another show. It's like 3 different shows with the same actors, right? The same crew of actors, and then they do... It reminds me of Whose Line Is It Anyway? When Colin Mockery would get up there and be the director and say, okay, now it's a Western. Okay, now it's CSI in space. Okay, now it's an action show. And then all the same actors, do the different roles. That's what it reminds me of. I do like it. I like the budget. It reminds me of the original series when you could tell there's a higher budget for Where No One Has Gone Before based on the normal episodes because it was a pilot. Where No Man Has Gone Before was the original episode. You could tell the budget was different because there were way more extras in the background. Special effects were better. The sets seemed bigger than the normal episodes. That's what it reminded me of, because the budget for the show is great. Like, the music is amazing, the sets are amazing, the costumes, actual Starfleet costumes, they're fantastic. I love all that. So all that's fantastic. You could tell Picard's kind of getting along in the tooth. Patrick Stewart, excuse me, because some of his lines, his delivery is a little slow because he's an old feller. I was expecting the show to be like A Lion in Winter, but it's not like that. Or I was also, I'm surprised it's not. I'm surprised so far I haven't seen any Shakespeare, because in the show, Picard was huge on Shakespeare and literature and, bringing those things into his character, and we haven't seen any of that. So that's surprising to me. Maybe there'll be more of that in the future, but... I think that's why I expected Lion in Winter, because that's kind of a Shakespearean type of movie. But we haven't got that. So I would give it... I know some people are harder on it than others and saying it's not Star Trek, and some saying it is Star Trek. It has a lot of Star Trek characters in it for it to not be Star Trek, and to me, it feels like Star Trek. It feels like even if you don't treat it as a normal Star Trek episode because they're not on a ship yet and they're not exploring space yet, it reminds me of The Inner Light, where my favorite episode, of course, where Captain Picard is living out someone else's life, and most of the episode didn't take place on a ship either. So, if I'm being honest with myself and saying, "Hey, that's my favorite episode," then I have to be honest and say, well, seeing these characters in a different situation, I still love the characters. So, is it the characters that make it to Star Trek? Is it the way the future is portrayed? It almost seems like it's one continuous episode. So, I'm not as mad about the future the Federation might take. Like, it seems to be a little bit more dystopian. That doesn't seem to concern me as much because I'm looking at it as like a movie, right? It's just a kind of a longer movie. Almost like you would a miniseries. And we're not even seeing all the Federation. We're just seeing one planet, right? We're just seeing Earth. And Federation has many, 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 many planets and many races and many... I know some people are complaining about the Romulans and saying, just because the Romulans had 2 planets blow up, or Romulus and Remus, if you count that. If you count Remus as a planet, as a moon. They have a giant empire. Like, why can they not, have rescued their own people? But, those are valid points and interesting. Just like, it seems oversimplification to say their entire empire was destroyed when it was one planet. Whereas, if one planet, Earth, isn't shouldn't be the center. It's the headquarters of the Federation, but it's represented by all these other races. So it does seem kind of single-minded and some focus, and it could be, I was kind of hoping for the feeling that you got in Star Trek 3 where McCoy had to try to rent a ship, a freighter, to go back to the Genesis planet. So you had this rogue. He almost like he was like at a rogue's den to try to rent something, and we don't quite get that feel that it's rogue Picard going rogue. It's more like him, falling on his allies and his former, crewmates to do stuff, which is not bad because then we get to see those actors. So I have no problem with that. But overall, like I said, I liked it. I give it probably 6.5 or 7 so far. I'm gonna watch episode 4 and see how that does. So I would say, if you like my content, please like, subscribe, and let me know. All right, thanks.